listening to Give God 90, where we're not afraid of the tough biblical questions, because we will dig through the language, the culture, and the history to find the truth revealed in the words of our Creator.
I wanna see the light.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Give God 90. Thank you for letting us be part of your day. Excuse me. My name is Jerry Mitchell, your host for Give God 90. Sitting here with me is, how do I describe you now?
I don't know.
I don't either. Myra's sitting here with me. We took you to the doctor yesterday with a good report. Not 100% back yet, but
No.
close to it.
Getting there.
Sorta. You are still doing your therapies and all that kind of stuff, but healing up nicely, I hope.
He thinks so.
He thinks so.
That's all that matters, I guess.
Well, no, do you think so? That matters too.
A lot less pain, let's put it that way.
There you go. There is a lot of things we could talk about tonight that it crossed my radar recently, and I looked at it and I thought, I'm not going to do a quickie about this because I think there's more going on than we can see as the nations once again prepare for World War III. They are rattling sabers and doing their thing and trying to adjust to, well, I guess the best way to say it, trying to adjust to a new evil in the world. Let's put it that way. But instead of that, we're going to look at something different tonight. Every one of us is in some type of a relationship, right? I mean, you are. If you are around anyone at any given time of the day, hey, Jay, glad to see you.
Hi,
if,
Jay.
If you're around anyone at any given time of the day, you're in a relationship, one way or another. Even a prisoner in solitary confinement has guards outside the door. That's a type of relationship. It's not the best relationship, but it's a type of relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have used Genesis 4:4 a lot to talk about the difference between bringing the best we have, as Abel did, or just kind of throwing some stuff together the way Cain did. And you know what happened after that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you're not speaking very loudly tonight. Can you hear yourself when you do that?
Yes.
Okay, as long as you can hear you. When, I'm not going to go into the Cain and Abel story. What I want to look at, of course, is that the Almighty accepted Abel's choice to bring the best he did and rejected Cain for just bringing something, because it was Abel's heart that was the central part of that aspect of that lesson. It was absolutely Abel saying, this is my Creator, this is whom I choose to love, whom I choose to please. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back for a second to the prisoner in solitary confinement and the guard outside the door. Do either one of them choose to bring their best in that situation? Probably not, but both have the ability to do that. Right?
Right.
The choice is ours. When you think about, excuse me, the bringing the best you have into a situation, whether it is the gift of an offering or whether it is simply bringing you the best person you can be into a relationship, there's lessons that we can learn about this all over the Bible. But one comes from Leviticus 10, and we really don't think about this as a way to consider relationships. But it is. It's one of the lessons that we find in Leviticus 10, verses 1 through 7. And it shows the danger about being complacent in a relationship. It shows how dangerous it is to take somebody for granted, right?
Right.
So if you want to read Leviticus, now I'll warn everybody, there's some words in here there's some names in here she might need help with.
Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, took their pans for burning incense. They put fire in them and added incense, but they did not use the special fire Moses had commanded them to use. So fire came down from the Lord and destroyed Nadab and Abihu. They died in front of the Lord. And Moses said to Aaron, "This is what the Lord was speaking about when he said, 'I must be respected as holy by those who come near me. Before all the people, I must be given honor.'" So Aaron did not say anything about the death of his sons. Aaron's uncle, Uziel, had two sons named Mishael and Elzaphan. Moses said to them, "Come here. Pick up your cousins' bodies. Carry them outside the camp away from the front of the holy place." So Mishael and Elzaphan obeyed Moses. They carried the bodies of Nadab and Abihu outside the camp. Nadab and Abihu were still wearing the special priest's inner robes. Then Moses spoke to Aaron and his sons, Eleazar and Ithamar. Right?
Close enough.
Moses told them, "Don't show any sadness. Don't tear your clothes. Don't leave your hair uncombed. If you do those things, you will die, and the Lord will be angry with all the people. All the people of Israel are your relatives. They may cry loudly about the Lord burning Nadab and Abihu, but you must not leave the meeting tent. If you go out of the entrance, you will die. This is because the Lord has anointed you to his service." So Aaron, Eleazar, and Ithamar obeyed Moses.
Okay. Now, at first we look at this and we go, what is going on here, right? Why is it that Nadab and Abihu were so complacent in front of the Almighty? Well, the answer is actually in the very next verse. And a lot of Christian preachers will use this verse for one specific purpose, and they don't get what's going on here. I'm going to read verse 9 from Leviticus 10. And it says, "Do not drink wine nor strong drink, thou, nor thy sons with thee, when you go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest you die. It shall be a statute forever throughout the generations." Now, of course, this verse is used in an attempt to claim Christians shouldn't drink alcohol, right? But that's not what the Creator is telling us. He's saying that Aaron or his sons, nor all of their descendants, which is the Levitical priesthood, are allowed to drink alcohol prior to going into the tabernacle and later even the temple. So for all of the Christians out there who are kind of probably getting a little uppity right now, think about this. There's a reason that you don't imbibe in alcohol prior to going into the temple or the tabernacle if you are a priest. And that is, you're not bringing your best. You know, alcohol is one of those things that allows you to, well, let me say it this way. It allows the real you to come out sometimes, right? It allows your inhibitions to be lowered. It takes away some of that feeling of responsibility. It can get in the way of you doing the things you really should be doing, and you are more apt to say, maybe I could get away with this. There are times and places, and they are outlined in Scripture, where those things are allowed. This isn't one of them. Being complacent in front of the Almighty is not one of those places. Now, instead of using the correct incense, they just kind of threw some stuff together. Nadab and Abihu, they just threw some stuff together, lit it up, and God said, no, that's not how you do things here. This is my place. You wanted a place for me. I wanted a place to be near you. You treat it with respect. You come near me. You treat me with respect. They didn't bring their best. They didn't offer the best. They really couldn't in that situation. Instead of doing the things they were told and doing things the way they were instructed, they took it upon themselves, putting self above God, to do things their way instead of His way. Our Creator insists that we bring the best of what we have to offer. If what we have is animals, if what we have is fruit or incense, or even just a sincere request, right? We are to approach Him with our absolute best. What does Genesis 1:26 tell us? You read Genesis 1:26, please.
And God said, "Let us make man in our own image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth."
That's interesting. If we are made in His image, should we expect others to offer us the best they have to offer? Now, let's turn that around a little bit. If we're made in His image, should we offer the best we have to offer, just like our Creator does for us? If we're made in His image and He's always giving the best, don't we follow that example? Think about that. Now, be very, very careful, because what I am not saying, let me say that again, what I am not saying here is if we go visit somebody and bring them, a bottle of wine or a loaf of bread or whatever it might be, it does not have to be the most expensive one in the store. Okay? If we take somebody a meal that's sick, a lot in the United States, we still, oft times when someone passes away and you take something to eat to the family, it doesn't have to be something from the most expensive restaurant in your area, right? But use some thought, use some care, use some love when you are offering something to someone. It isn't the quantity that they're looking for in those situations. It's the quality of what you have to offer. The quality of your spirit reveals who you are. If you're just throwing some stuff together, like last year's pickled beets, what's the person who is receiving that going to think? How are they supposed to see you in that aspect? Unless you happen to know that they really like pickled beets, right?
Right.
How are they supposed to react to that? How are they supposed to respond to that? If we're made in His image and you are bringing me something less than your best, even if your best is only an attentive ear, even if your best is nothing more than, like Job's friends that come to sit with him, didn't say a word, they just sat there. If that's the best you have, and that's your quality, bring it. You don't have to bring it with, mountains of cheap junk. Let's just put it that way. You don't have to bring, a truckload of flowers just to help someone in their time of grief. Simply being there is often enough. Unfortunately, quality is something we don't think about a lot anymore. In the United States, we have discount stores and dollar stores. It's a lot of quantity, but they don't sell quality. A lesson I learned as a very young man was if you plan to use something and you're going to earn a living with it, it doesn't matter what it is, you make sure it's quality so that you don't have to purchase quality, or make sure it's quality so you don't have to purchase quantity. No matter whether it's a screwdriver or a drill. I have power tools that I bought 40 years ago now that I still use. They've been repaired a couple of times, but they still function exactly the same today as they did the day I bought them. They were expensive. I had to save up for them. Absolutely. But you know what? Over the years, it's paid off. It was worth the investment. Now think about that with your relationships. Doesn't matter whether it's a friendship, a marriage, family member. Doesn't matter. If you're offering the best you have, the best you can be in that relationship, it's doing more than just kind of showing up. Maybe, let's go back here a little bit and think about when a relationship begins. Is that relationship based on trust and honesty and openness? Or were you a little less than forthcoming, a little less than honest? I mean, we know a lot of relationships that fail because one or both people weren't honest from the beginning. You know, a lot of relationships that fail because one person was and the other might not be. I caution many people who are in the early stages of a relationship that the other person deserves the real spirit that's in your body, that lives in your body. They don't need to be exposed to any of the unholy spirits that might be living in there with you. They want to know the real you. They want to know the character of the person that the Almighty created. Maybe you're having issues with a family member. You might be convinced they're being less than honest. So you go, well, they don't care. Why should I? Right? Well, you should. Because that should be the quality of person you are. Here's the thing. If you're convinced that someone you're in a relationship with, and it can be a friendship, it can be a family member, it can be anything. It can even be that prisoner and the guard outside the door. If you're convinced they're not being honest with you and you are less than honest with them, how's that working for you? Right? Bringing quality, offering the best that we have, even when we don't have anything other than ourselves, anything other than the real us, the real you. That's what we need to bring to a relationship to make it strong. You've heard marriage is 50-50, and I have talked about this before, and it's not 50-50. Had this conversation with my daughter-in-law this past week. Marriage is 100-100. Each person has to bring everything they've got. They have to bring their whole self into that relationship. Friendships are the same way. There's a friend of mine from many, many, many years ago. It's not that we talk to each other that often, but we know when we call each other, you're there, because way back those long, many years ago now, it gets longer ago every year too. Our relationship was strong because we knew each other. We knew what each other liked, because not just because we were around and watched each other, but because we were open with each other. We cared about each other. We knew how we would get along. We knew how each other would respond to different things. Our relationship with our Creator works the same way too, with a little bit of difference, kind of. There's something that I call God math. When our Creator gives 100% that He has to come into the relationship with us, it's okay if there's days that we can't give 100%. Because sometimes and somehow He will reach down and give more to make up for what we're lacking. You think, well, I've only got 80% today. It's okay. The Almighty will make up the difference. When those times roll around and you're really, really, really broken, and you think, have I even got 1% today? Guess who's willing to give you the other 99? But you have to be willing to receive it. You have to be willing to accept it. We can do that for each other too. And when a friend calls and they're sad, you know what? Your ear may be the only thing they need. Just somebody to listen to them might be all they need to get them through whatever trouble they're going through. When you receive a message that somebody's in grief, the way you respond is the percentage that they need to get back to 100%, their 100%. We are made in the image of our Creator. We have what it takes to make people whole, to bring them back to their 100%. But first, before we can bring someone else to 100%, we have to be. We have to be able to do the God math. We've got to be willing to accept what we're missing. The only way we're going to accept that, to be made whole, is to receive what the Almighty has to offer. Those days when you think, I just can't get it done today, and He's offering that to you. Sometimes He offers it in various ways. Spoke to someone this week who, was in a situation, and they finally realized that there have been offers out there time after time after time of how to resolve a situation or how to get some help with a situation. And they finally realized, maybe it's time I accepted the help. Why aren't you accepting the help if you need it? Maybe you think, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfect. You might need more help than somebody who's broken down to 1%. because nobody's perfect. The only way that I can think of, and the only thing I can find in the scriptures, the entire Bible, all of it, the only way for us to be 100% is to live the way we're designed to live and follow the Creator's instructions. It's the only way you can do it. It's if we are made in His image and He designed us, it's Him that says, here is how you can do this. He's given us His instructions. He's given us His advice. He's given us everything it takes. But are you willing to accept it? Or are you going to be like Nadab and Abihu and walk into His presence haphazardly, giving less than your best at the time, whatever that best might be? If your best is the broken you, He can fix that. If your best is the arrogant you, He will break you, right?
Yes, He will.
How you approach the Almighty determines the outcome. If you go into a situation haphazardly, you're going to have some problems, right?
Yes.
Hopefully not as bad as Nadab and Abihu, right?
Let's hope not.
But on the other hand, if you are willing, I'm going to use the term, if you are willing to repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand, if you're willing to accept what the Almighty has to offer, chances are great you're going to enjoy the outcome. We have sometimes people ask questions and they're kind of putting their feelers out, right? And somebody asked me not too long ago, have you ever witnessed, I think they used the term healing prayer. And I said, well, yeah. That's not a big deal. I've also witnessed prayer that didn't heal. But that's not what it was about. What it was about was the Almighty glorified in both events? Absolutely. The one event where the person actually received healing, well, of course that glorifies God, right? But the one who didn't, or one of the ones who didn't, they had a choice. They could either accept their situation, or, like you, they could fight for it, right?
Right.
Now, here's one to put you on the spot. If you had not been hurt and not gone through all of the things you've gone through for the last 2 years, would you have met all of the people that you had met in the last 2 years?
No.
Would the people that you have met over the last 2 years have benefited from anything that your interaction with them brought to them if you hadn't been hurt?
Probably not.
Out of all of those people that you've met, how do I want to ask this question? This is going to sound arrogant. It really is, but you know where I'm going with this. Have those folks benefited from knowing you over the last 2 years?
I like to think yes.
Okay. Now, are you getting better?
I am.
So, where's the problem here? If those folks have benefited from knowing you and seeing the way you live and hearing the things that you tell them, because I know you, you are very quick to point out that there's things we don't eat because we're not supposed to eat biblically.
Right.
There are things that we do and don't do because
God commands us not to.
Right. Or to do.
Or to do.
Right. So that example, does that glorify the Almighty?
Yes.
Absolutely it does.
And I also don't, how should I put this? I don't down the fact that I got injured. I use it as praise to be able to learn, to witness, to, I don't know. I guess you could say I use it to uplift God when I'm speaking to people. Because I'm not, yes, this is what happened to me, but look at where I'm at. Look at me. I'm not down in the dumps because of it.
Right.
And I want them to know that because of God, I don't have to be that way.
Right. So, in all of that relationship, now there's going to be people I know that, well, I shouldn't say it that way. There are people you know who would look at you and say, "Oh, I'm so glad we met," right?
Yes.
Hopefully, what comes of that is some of these same people are going to be, "I'm so glad we met because you showed me who to glorify." That's what we're after. All of these relationships, this is going to sound funny if you're not English slang, right? But they play to, or they expose people to glorifying the Creator. That's the way we should live our life. And if we expect people to offer their best to us, we have to be willing to offer our best to them. Like I said, don't think I'm saying you have to go buy the most expensive bottle of wine, the most expensive loaf of bread, take them to the most expensive restaurant. That's not what I'm saying. If the best you have is nothing, then give them the best of the nothing that you have. Does that make sense?
It does. It's like when you're around people, just treat them exactly the way you would like to be treated, and it will come back to you.
Well, that
And
sounds
you will
a lot like Leviticus 19.
And you will see, and it might be 30 years, but sometimes it will come back to you, and they will come, 32 years ago I worked with somebody. I didn't remember her. I got reacquainted with her 5 years ago, I guess, and I didn't know who she was, but she remembered me, and I made an impact on her because I treated her like a normal person, like I would want to be treated, and other people weren't.
Right. So in our relationships, we approach people the way the Almighty approaches us, with the best He's got. And we should be able to expect the same from others. Now, if somebody comes to you, in a drunk, complacent way, burning incense, I don't suggest you burn them, okay?
No. Maybe take the fire away from
it's
them.
not for us to decide, right? In the image of, not in place of, okay? Let's get that straight. We are made in the image of, not to replace God. When we bring ourselves the best we can, the real who we are, and we approach the Almighty, even when we've got trouble, even when we've got problems, He is going to look at us and say, okay, we can work with this. When we approach the Almighty like we're better than Him, that's when our problems are just starting. If you need someplace to look to help you learn how to live the way you're designed to live, GiveGod90.com is a good place to start. Those first 3 pages about turning your life around will go a long way in helping you humble yourself and helping you improve your life and the lives of the people around you. And that's what we're trying to do, is make everybody be able to glorify the Almighty simply through our relationships, through the way we interact with other people. Right?
Right.
Okay. Did you have anything to add?
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Absolutely. Until Monday, our company is gone. We'll be back live on Monday.
Yes.
Had a wonderful visit with the family, and wishing them safe travels as they go home. So, until Monday, many blessings, everyone.
Thank you.